Tonight, a major development in the Ukraine war. For the first time, President Biden authorizes Ukraine to use long-range U.S. missiles to attack inside Russia. President-elect Trump's cabinet choices come under scrutiny as he picks a climate change skeptic for energy secretary. And breaking news, a small plane crashes onto a drag strip during a championship racing event. We begin with the major change in U.S. policy, with Ukraine getting what it's been begging for, long-range U.S. missiles for use inside Russia. The move comes as North Korean soldiers join the fight on Russia's side, and Russia unleashes a devastating attack on Ukraine's power grid. Civilians are fleeing to underground shelters. Our Ian Pannell is on the ground in Ukraine. Also tonight, the Trump transition moving at a record pace. His choice for energy secretary insists there is no climate crisis. Mounting pressure tonight for the House Speaker to release the ethics report on Matt Gaetz, Trump's pick for attorney general. New allegations surrounding his pick for defense secretary. And overnight, the president-elect took a few presumptive members of his new administration to see a UFC fight. A renewed fire threat in the bone-dry Northeast. Voluntary evacuations are carried out. New York City takes an unprecedented step, forming a brush fire task force. Our weather team on when relief will finally come. A bullet strikes a Southwest jet as it prepared for departure. The bullet hit the plane just below the cockpit, only days before the busy holiday travel season. Growing outrage in Ohio's capital after masked people are seen marching while carrying swastika flags. Authorities are condemning the action. Prosecutors accuse Diddy of trying to obstruct his sex trafficking case from behind bars. They claim he's attempted to influence victims and potential witnesses at his upcoming trial. They're urging a judge to deny him bail. The suspect in the murders of 4 college students in Idaho, once important DNA evidence thrown out of court. What he's accusing police of doing at the time of his arrest. And raising the bar. Oh my God! A single mom's life-changing moment shared all around the world.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. With just 2 months to go in his administration, tonight President Biden has reversed longstanding limits on Ukraine's use of American weapons systems, something that could be a game changer in the war with Russia. The president is now allowing the Ukrainians to fire on targets inside of Russia, something President Zelensky has repeatedly lobbied for. The weapons have a range of nearly 200 miles. The U.S. had feared lifting the restrictions would lead to an escalation by Moscow. They could be used in the Kursk region of western Russia to help defend Ukrainian forces there. Overnight, Russia launched one of its fiercest attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure. More than 200 missiles and drones fired throughout the country. Officials say a number of civilians were killed. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell leads us off tonight from Ukraine.
Tonight, for the first time, President Joe Biden authorizing Ukraine to use long-range U.S. missiles to strike Russia. A stunning change in policy, a major factor in the decision U.S. officials say 10,000 North Korean troops arriving in Russia to fight alongside the Russians, many expected to be part of a planned offensive to take back the Kursk region. Late today, President Zelensky saying the missiles will speak for themselves without a doubt.
Slava Ukraini.
Overnight, Russia unleashing its third largest attack against Ukraine this year, more than 200 missiles and drones, targeting power plants and energy infrastructure nationwide, killing at least 7 civilians, authorities say. This missile fragment carefully extracted after smashing through this apartment building. Residents in Kyiv fleeing to metro stations as city's power grid was forced to shut down as temperatures start to plummet. In Odessa, where the water was shut down, this woman saying her family has run out of its emergency supply. She's back for more. She'll carry home by hand.
Lindsay, I think for the Russians, they're going to regard this as a major escalation. But the reality is they're going to have to wait for the next administration, the Trump administration, and see actually where policy truly lies. Lindsay?
There is concern these long-range missiles will only escalate the conflict there. Ian, thank you. Let's bring in retired Marine Colonel and ABC News contributor Steve Ganyard. And Steve, we know this is significant, but what message do you think the administration is trying to send here?
I think, Lindsay, that the administration realizes that incoming President Trump is going to try to quickly bring Russia and Ukraine to the negotiating table. So what's important here, and what Ian pointed out, is that Kursk is Russia. And if the Ukrainians have to come to the bargaining table, they need a bargaining chip. And Kursk is going to be that bargaining chip. And so the administration is trying to help Ukraine hold that territory so they have something at the bargaining table.
Steve Ganyard for us. Thank you. President-elect Trump is not wasting any time filling his cabinet. This weekend, he announced his pick for Energy Secretary, fracking executive Chris Wright, who's a fierce critic of the existence of climate change. The selection of Wright comes as other nominees are facing increased scrutiny. Here's ABC's MaryAlice Parks.
Tonight, President-elect Trump sending a clear message with his nomination to lead the Department of Energy. Chris Wright, one of the nation's top fracking executives who led the charge against President Biden's clean energy policies. The Department of Energy largely handles the country's nuclear arsenal, but has also been supporting the U.S. investment in renewable energy. Wright and Trump wanting that work to end. Wright, who has no government experience, has argued that the effects of climate change are overblown, claims nearly all leading scientists say are false.
There is no climate crisis, and we're not in the midst of an energy transition either.
But most scientists agree the world is on track to reach dangerously warmer temperatures as the burning of oil and gas heats the planet. Extreme weather events made worse by climate change already causing major destruction across the country, something Wright has denied. Trump moving quickly to nominate members of his future cabinet, he still needs to make selections for transportation, commerce, treasury, and others. And there are real questions about whether all of Trump's picks will make it through the Senate confirmation process. Several Republicans skeptical of former Congressman Matt Gaetz in particular, nominated to be Trump's attorney general. They want to see that report, worked on by the House Ethics Committee, investigating allegations against Gaetz of illicit drug use and sex with a minor.
I believe the Senate should have access to that. Now, should it be released to the public or not? That's I guess that will be part of the negotiations, but that should be definitely part of our decision making.
Gaetz has repeatedly and categorically denied the allegations.
I have not had a relationship with a 17-year-old. That is totally false.
Speaker of the House Mike Johnson arguing since Gaetz resigned from Congress, the report should be shelved. Tonight saying he has not talked to Trump about it and defending Trump's picks.
These are disruptors. They are. I think that's by design. Any president has the right to name their own cabinet, to nominate persons that they think will fulfill their agenda. And the people that are on this list will do that.
Johnson traveled alongside Trump to an Ultimate Fighting Championship event in New York overnight. Trump greeted by the crowd, some celebrities, sitting alongside his family. His staff later posting this photo of Elon Musk and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. with Trump, too, eating McDonald's. Donald Trump Jr. writing, "Make America Healthy Again starts tomorrow." Several leaders in the medicine and public health community have voiced serious concern about RFK's nomination to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. A vaccine skeptic who is known to promote debunked conspiracy theories and spread COVID-19 misinformation.
There's nothing that I've done for my patients that I know has more positive impact than getting them vaccinated fully and on time. And to have someone leading HHS, who is one of the biggest deniers of vaccines in our country, would undermine the confidence in that program and likely would cost lives.
A number of public health experts shared that sentiment. MaryAlice Parks joins us now. MaryAlice, what is the latest reporting about Trump's pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth?
Yeah, Lindsay, Hegseth's attorney now says that he paid a woman who accused him of sexual assault back in 2017 as a part of a settlement agreement, that he was a victim of blackmail. The two had a consensual sexual encounter. He says that he was nervous that his career as a Fox News host might suffer. We know that a police report was filed at the time, that no charges were brought. But the big question now, could all of this slow down or even upend his nomination? Lindsay.
MaryAlice for us. Thank you. President Biden is on the final leg of his farewell tour to Latin America. Today, he made history, becoming the first sitting American president to visit the Amazon rainforest. The president focused on climate change and underscored the differences between him and the incoming president. President Biden is now about to attend his last G20 summit, set to get underway tomorrow in Rio. Back here at home, authorities in the Northeast are battling a wildfire just outside of New York City. Crews are using National Guard helicopters to pour water on the fire, which has been burning now for a week. Overnight, the Jennings Creek fire jumped the containment zone. Dozens of residents were asked to evacuate. Here's ABC News meteorologist Somara Theodore.
Tonight, as crews race to extinguish relentless flames fueled by a historic drought, fire officials in New York City launching a first-of-its-kind brush fire task force. The FDNY responding to a record 271 brush fires across the city in the first 2 weeks of November. Just 90 minutes north, hundreds of residents in Orange County, New York, asked to evacuate overnight after high winds helped flames jump a containment line.
We packed up just like the essentials, everything that we had in the safe, like important papers, and then we came here.
The Jennings Creek blaze along the New York-New Jersey border, scorching more than 5,000 acres. WABC reporter Kimberly Richardson was there.
Some flames did breach a containment line, but crews were able to fight fire with fire. This smoke is a good thing, part of a burnout operation keeping homes and people here safe.
Now, the good news is winds have significantly decreased. It's still pretty dry, though, and what we need is rain. That rain moves in on Wednesday into Thursday morning. You can see here that front brushing across the Northeast, bringing that much-needed rainfall. Meanwhile, in the South, for states like Texas and Oklahoma, tonight we are tracking the threat for severe weather. They have an enhanced wind threat for places like Wichita Falls and Haskell. Tomorrow morning, this severe weather threat shifts east into places like Dallas and Waco, where they could see a few tornadoes and flash flooding. Lindsay?
All right, Somara, for us, thanks so much. New details tonight in an incident this weekend at the Dallas airport. A Southwest plane hit by gunfire as it prepared to take off. Sources tell our affiliate WFAA that police believe the shooting was random, with a single bullet piercing the cockpit. Fortunately, no one was injured. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Tonight, Dallas police investigating the moment a Southwest flight packed with passengers on the runway preparing for takeoff when it was hit by gunfire.
They think that somebody from outside the airport shot a firearm at the aircraft.
Air traffic control capturing the terrifying moments a bullet struck the right side of the Boeing 737 near the cockpit at Dallas Love Field Airport Friday night. Pilots turning the plane around. 99 people on board safely deplaned at the gate as first responders raced to the scene.
Southwest 2494, we like to return to the gate. Need to have an inspection done here on the aircraft.
It's just surprising that something like that happened. Yeah. But you know, the times and days we in, anything can happen.
In a statement, Southwest Airlines confirming the bullet striking the aircraft just under the flight deck. No injuries were reported. Law enforcement authorities have been notified and the plane has been removed from service. Lindsay, Dallas police are leading the investigation into the shooting. Sources say they believe the shooting was a result of random gunfire. Lindsay.
Jacqueline, thank you. Ohio's governor is speaking out after a group wearing masks and carrying Nazi flags marched through Columbus. In response, Mike DeWine said, "We will not tolerate hate in Ohio." This comes amid a dramatic increase in similar incidents nationwide. Here's ABC's Rena Roy.
Tonight, an Ohio community on edge after this group, masked and dressed in black, marched through the streets of Columbus Saturday, carrying firearms and flags with swastikas.
There's legitimate Nazis. Can you lock the door?
Black community leaders organizing a countermarch for unity this afternoon, walking the same path just north of downtown. Ohio's Republican Governor Mike DeWine condemning the masked group, saying in a statement there is no place in this state for hate, bigotry, anti-Semitism, or violence, and we must denounce it wherever we see it. The Anti-Defamation League reporting a dramatic increase in anti-Semitic incidents nationwide over the last several years, particularly since Hamas's attack on Israel last October. Just last week, protesters waving Nazi flags in Howell, Michigan, not far from Detroit, outside the American Legion, which was hosting a play about the Holocaust.
People were shocked. They were appalled.
An Army veteran saying he confronted them as they shouted anti-Semitic and racial slurs.
We had 75 people downstairs that watched that play. And out of that 75, there was 50 or 60 of them that were afraid to leave this building. We had to escort them to their cars. Nobody in America should feel like that.
Columbus police tell us officers detained members of that group on Saturday to investigate a potential assault, but ultimately determined that no crime was committed. Lindsay?
Rena, thank you. Prosecutors are accusing music mogul Sean Diddy Combs of attempting to obstruct his sex trafficking trial. Combs has been in jail since his September arrest. He has pleaded not guilty. ABC's Morgan Norwood joins us now. And Morgan, what are prosecutors alleging?
Well, prosecutors are accusing Sean Diddy Combs of orchestrating some sort of scheme from behind bars to tamper with the sex trafficking case against him. Lindsay, he's requesting bail for a third time. He has another hearing set for this Friday, but prosecutors are urging the judge to keep him locked up. They say Combs poses serious risk of danger and obstruction to the case, and they cite his alleged attempts to use social media to taint the jury pool and contact potential victims and witnesses through members of his own family. Again, all of this from inside the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Combs has pleaded not guilty and denied any wrongdoing. His defense team claims that there's new evidence that undermines the government's case. Lindsay?
Morgan, thank you. There's so much more ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, including a recall of carrots after an outbreak of E. coli. Plus, why the suspect in the murders of 4 college students is asking for key evidence to now be thrown out. And we remember the controversial coach who brought gold to USA Gymnastics. Next tonight, an outbreak of E. coli has infected dozens of people who ate bagged organic carrots. 39 people were infected and 1 person died after eating organic whole and baby carrots from Grimway Farms. These were sold under multiple brand names at stores throughout the country. The carrots being recalled have Best Buy dates ranging from September 11th through November 12th. Health officials have confirmed the first U.S. case of a new form of Mpox that can cause more serious illness and has been circulating in Africa. The patient had recently traveled to Eastern Africa and was treated in Northern California after returning. Mpox, previously called monkeypox, is related to smallpox and can cause skin lesions and in serious cases can be extremely painful and potentially fatal. Scientists say this new form, like previous versions, can be spread through close contact, including sex. However, the CDC says the risk in this country is low. Lawyers for the suspect charged with murdering 4 University of Idaho students are trying to get key evidence against him thrown out. Brian Kohberger's defense team claims officers did not properly advise him of his constitutional rights when they arrested him in December of 2022. They say a DNA swab as well as pictures of his body should be inadmissible. Kohberger has pleaded not guilty and is scheduled to go on trial in August. When we come back, the new stamp that honors a TV legend and a small plane crashes at a drag strip during a championship racing event. To the index now. A crash temporarily halted a drag racing event today in Southern California, but it did not involve any of the cars. A small plane went down at the Pomona drag strip. It happened during the NHRA drag racing finals just after 11 this morning. 4 people on the plane were hurt. None of the injuries considered life-threatening. The single-engine Cessna crashed as the pilot was attempting to land at a nearby airport. The coach who helped revolutionize gymnastics has died. Bela Karolyi had reportedly been in poor health. He led national teams first in Romania and later in the U.S., famously coaching Mary Lou Retton to gold at the 1984 Olympics. But in recent years, he was accused of abusive coaching and of turning a blind eye to the sexual crimes of team doctor Larry Nassar. He denied the allegations. Bela Karolyi was 82 years old. And from gold medals to one of the Golden Girls, the late Betty White will appear on a 2025 Forever stamp. The Postal Service made the announcement Friday, calling White an icon of American television who shared her wit and warmth for 7 decades. Betty White died in 2021, only weeks before she would have turned 100 years old. When we come back, joy, relief, and a celebration after a life-changing moment. Finally tonight, years of hard work leading up to one moment of truth. 6 p.m. November 8th, Rihanna Gordon logged onto her laptop with anxiety in her heart and a bundle of nerves over her shoulders. The 34-year-old single mom of 2 awaiting the results of a potentially life-changing exam. After graduating from law school, she then recorded herself as she searched the California Bar website to find out if she passed the state's bar exam, which is widely regarded as one of the country's most rigorous, with just over half of the participants passing on their first try.
Oh my God.
Her 2 children, Finn and Riley, just as anxious as they get the news.
Oh my God!
Overcome with emotion as they learn she passed on her first try. All 3 in tears of joy. Rihanna shared her excitement on social media, where it's been viewed more than 27 million times on TikTok alone. Rihanna tells us she wants people, especially mothers and single mothers, to know that they can do the hard things and excel. So sweet. Congratulations to the entire family. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Lindsay Davis. David Muir right back here tomorrow. Until then, good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.